Yo, what's up guys, I'm Mezogvi, and today we are doing this video again. For those of you that haven't seen the previous collection video that I've done before, I did one on the 1993 Jurassic Park line. If you haven't seen that video, highly recommend you checking it out, great video. But as you can see, we're doing this again with Jurassic World. So it's honestly crazy to think that it's been 10 years since Jurassic World came out. When Jurassic World came out, when all these figures came out, I was in elementary school, man. It's crazy how long it's been. But of course, in today's video, we're going to be going over all of the vintage, I can't believe I'm calling them vintage. We're going over all the vintage Jurassic World Hasbro figures from 2015. It is crazy to think that there's a bunch of people right now that are born after this. So of course, in this chest right here is all of my Jurassic World figures I had growing up. As you can see, honestly, I was gonna, like the last video, I would put a like the holy sound effect when I open this. All of the Jurassic Park figures, but let's be real, these weren't really the most appreciated figures. I don't know what sound effect to put, so I don't know. Let me retry that. There you go. Oh crap, hold on. I forgot about this. In the last video, this thing just completely snapped. And yeah, that wasn't supposed to happen. Hey yo, how you allow me to do refunds? As you can see, I've yet to return this or to fix it because I'm too lazy, honestly. Alright, so starting off in this collection, we have, here we go, we have the Basher's Inbiter T-Rex. This is what started it all, I think. I don't remember which ones I got first. So unfortunately, when looking at this guy, I actually have two of them. This came in another set, which I'll get into soon. But this was like, I think this was my first Jurassic World figure, and as you can see, it unfortunately doesn't work anymore. Unfortunately, with a lot of these figures, they just don't work easily anymore because a lot of them break over the time. And I believe a lot of these figures no longer work. So I apologize for anybody that doesn't like seeing broken toys, but a lot of these are going to be broken. But overall though, it's an interesting looking figure. Not the most liked, but how can you not love a face like that? I forgot to mention, check out this shirt. Look at this. It's for the sake of obviously the 10 years of Jurassic World. I am of course wearing my Mr. DNA shirt. I got the Mr. DNA shirt right now. We gotta be prepared for getting into this whole mess, alright? So next up is the Spinosaurus. This is actually one that I really loved as a kid. I know everybody hated this one. I can see why, but it's actually, I've always liked this one as a kid. Unfortunately, of course, it is indeed broken, but basically, as for the action features, you would move the tail to the side, the head would turn to the side, and it would just like roar its jaws, and it would snap them and whatever. And of course, too, you move the tail down, and the tail would obviously go up as well. Something that's really neat too is that you can actually move the tail like a puppet, and the head would correspond. Imagine more animation to this. If this was still working, then it would look a lot better. Right now, it just looks kind of stupid, but it's actually not a bad concept for a figure, not gonna lie. It's actually pretty neat. Next up in the box, here we have the Stegosaurus. Wait, Stegoseratops. Yes, this is a hybrid between Ceratosaurus, I know I pronounced that wrong, I apologize, and Stegosaurus. This is actually a really cool hybrid, not gonna lie. This was supposed to appear in the movie, but unfortunately it never did. And every time it appeared in the video games, for some reason they always made it a hybrid of Triceratops and Stegosaurus instead of Ceratosaurus and Stegosaurus. It doesn't make sense. I don't understand. It's clearly a hybrid of Ceratosaurus, not Triceratops. I don't get why they keep making it look like Triceratops. It's weird. But overall though, this is actually a pretty cool looking figure. Of course, you move the tail down and the head will come out kind of like a turtle. It's very tight over the ears, but of course it does that. And you move the tail and the head will move as well. It's Pretty neat. And of course, you know, when the head's popped out, you can still move the head. It's a pretty cool figure. I actually really like this one. Alright, moving along with the figures, we have the Pachycephalosaurus. Honestly, this is a pretty neat one. It's obviously not based on the Pachycephalosaurus from the movie. It's obviously got this bumblebee looking color pattern with it, with all the yellow, the black. Now this one, you get the tail, you move it down, and just like the Stegoseratops, the head will move out of its body, kind of like a turtle. And of course, as for the other action feature, you're supposed to move the tail to the side and the head will tilt to the side as well, but unfortunately the tail is really stuck in place. I cannot get it to budge, which probably means that it's either caught on something or something's twisted, and if I force it, then it'll just snap off. So, also something to note is that all these figures actually have this battle damage thing on it. This is actually the best one, but if you look at the other ones, you have a huge gouge on it. Honestly, I wouldn't blame anybody if they thought that these dinosaurs were zombie dinosaurs, because that's pretty gnarly. Alright, as for the next figure in the box, we have the Allosaurus. This one, interestingly enough, shares the same color pattern as McDonald's, of course, but this Allosaurus also shares the same color patterns as the one from Jurassic World the game. But overall, looking at this figure, this is probably the best looking figure out of all of them. It looks so nice looking, actually, especially with the eye and everything. Unfortunately, with the action feature, of course, you move the tail to the side, the head moves to the side, and you move the tail down and the head will go down. The head will go up. Unfortunately, mine is very tight, like the Pachycephalosaurus, but there is a little bit of animation to it left. But of course, the head would move up and it would basically roar. That's what it's supposed to do. But mine is just extremely tight. Overall though, as for this Ronald McDonald looking Allosaurus, this is probably my favorite besides the Spinosaurus and Stegoseratops growing up as a kid. Alright, let's see what we got here. Oh, here's actually an interesting one. Here we have, I remember this, the Mountain Dew T-Rex. It's funny how literally, I know this is supposed to be based on the Bull T-Rex from The Lost World or Jurassic World 3, but it's funny how when this T-Rex came out, literally everybody called it the Mountain Dew T-Rex. And it kind of sticks, not gonna lie. It kind of works because this does indeed look like a Mountain Dew T-Rex. I know it's not the official name, but it's still funny nonetheless. Of course, just like the other T-Rex, same exact features. Luckily on this one, the action features do still work. So of course you move the tail to the side, it roars, and then you move the tail up and the head goes up like a headbutt. So you can actually be a little bit animative when it comes to this. I don't know the right terms of words to use for this, but it's almost like a puppet and it's actually really interesting. Next up in the Jurassic World box, we have the Stegoseratops. This is from the Wave 2 or Wave 3. Obviously, it's just a repaint of the previous one. Same exact feature. You move the tail, the head moves. You move the tail out, the head goes out. Interestingly enough, this is actually a lot smoother than this one. This one is very tight feeling. It actually feels like it's gonna break at any moment. But this one actually is a lot smoother and it feels like it's not gonna break as easily. This actually feels a lot more durable than the last one. This whole desert vibe to it. This would be great for photo shoots in the desert. So this next one coming up is actually really cool. Funny, not gonna lie. We have Blue with a literal rocket launcher.
I told you a field test was a bad idea. In fact, you might want to start running for your lives right now.
He left us. He left us.
We're free, suckers!
I guess a net launcher, but let's be real, it's a rocket launcher. This is honestly probably one of the most funniest Jurassic World figures we've ever gotten. Literally, it's a Velociraptor with a rocket launcher. It's crazy. Of course, this thing you can actually remove the rocket launcher if you wanted to. And it's just like all the other figures. The tail cannot move, but you can move the head. You can move the tail down, and the head will obviously make a roaring function. Pretty neat. But of course, you got the rocket launcher. You can put it on the Velociraptor, and with this right button, you can go ahead and shoot it. Just like that. And now the dogs are probably eat that, so I probably should get that. back, but as you can see, pretty neat. Obviously, it's like a little net that just gets shoved back in there and ready to fire again. This is actually pretty cool. I really like this figure. I love how you can use it for other dinosaurs. You can have a raptor just run in and just like, oh look, target spotted. Instead of trying to kill it, boom, we can shoot it. It's so stupid, but it's awesome. I love this figure so much. All right, next up is, oh, wonderful. Look at this. This thing is literally just breaking as I use it. It just broke again. What? Come on. This thing was like what? $20? Bruh. Alright, we'll just, okay, it just broke again. It just broke again. Right. Oh, we're just gonna ignore that. Let's ignore that. Alright, so here we have the Roarivores. So I think these were called Roarivores. These were either called Roarivores or they were called Growlers. I am so sorry, I don't remember the names of these things, but these were medium-sized dinosaurs. A little bit more expensive than these, but a little bit cheaper than the bigger ones. So as you can see, obviously, these are pretty neat. You would, like here's blue, you would move the tail down. Okay, hold on. There we go. The batteries, unfortunately, are not doing too well. They're obviously dying. And of course, on the side of the figure, with the battle damage area, there is a light, and it screams in agony. So that way, you can have it fighting, where's the dinosaur works? As you can see, I'm fighting the dinosaur, right? And then boom, the dinosaur gets at it, it tears at its flesh, and it screams in agony. So a pretty nice toy. Right, so next up on our Growlers list, we have the Dilophosaurus. Come on, how can we not have a Dilophosaurus, right? It's awesome. So this is actually pretty neat. Unlike the other figures where they mainly just obviously do their little action, this one is like a gun. That just sounded really weird. But literally, because this right here, I believe I should still have it in. Yep, here it is. As you can see, it came with a little venom projectile. Obviously, you just shove it in the head. There you go. And basically, what you do... Ow! I didn't expect it to do that. Hold on. What you would do is that, really, okay, so basically, what you do is you put it inside the thing, so basically, what you do is, obviously, you put this inside the mouth, there we go, and so, as you can obviously see, it's very sensitive, but what you do is so you have to hold the head up. I figured this out. Right now it's locked in there. As you can see, ain't coming out, hopefully. So, obviously, grab the tail, move it down, and... I'm serious right now. Alright. I give up. Are you kidding me? Oh my god. So, basically, tilt it up. Put it inside his mouth, so stuff it right in there. And then, move the tail down, and... There, it worked. I'm done. Alright, next up in the box we have the Dimorphodon. I think this has the best sculpt out of all of them. And look at this sculpt. Look at that. That is the most beautiful looking head sculpt I have ever seen for a Dimorphodon. It is crazy how they just went all out on this Dimorphodon head, but then the body is just very mediocre, cartoonish looking. I don't know why, but they really like the head on this Dimorphodon. So of course, as for the action feature of this Dimorphodon, you can go ahead and squeeze the legs. You squeeze the legs and it clamps its jaws and flares its wings, just like any other animal would. Oh, or you can get them locked. Hold on. Wait. Oh crap, I think I broke it. There we go, I got it. But as you can see, I love how the sound just repeats. It just stops every time you do it, so it's just like a dubstep opening. Like it doesn't finish off every time you press it. Every time you press it, it just restarts itself. I always find that hilarious. But I also find it funny how this Dimorphodon is literally bigger than a raptor. How? Look at the thing compared to this raptor. It is huge. It's a T-Rex compared to... Why is it so big? Alright, next up, I believe this is the final Growler Roarivore figure that we have. But as you can see, we have the Ceratosaurus. This is actually really cool how this is literally the first Ceratosaurus figure we've ever gotten. Of course, later on, Mattel would make 50 more, but overall, though, as for Hasbro and Kenner, this is the first time we've ever got a Ceratosaurus figure. And it's really cool, too, because it's the same colors as the one from Jurassic Park 3. That's pretty neat detail, not gonna lie. Unfortunately, as for the electronics in this one, they don't work anymore. I've tried changing out the batteries, but it just doesn't work. However, something that is pretty interesting about this guy is that when I was a kid, I don't know how I managed to do this, but normally, obviously, when you do the action feature, you move the tail down and it does a chomping feature, just like normal. However, I don't know what I did, but I opened this thing up as a kid and I made it where the mouth can stay closed. I don't know how I did that. Normally, it should be on a spring and it should always stay open, and whenever you close it, it just springs back down. But I did something where even though it still works, you can actually just go ahead and close it. There, like that. So that's pretty cool. I don't know how I did that, but I'm proud of myself. Overall though, pretty neat looking figure. It's very chunky, I will admit. Doesn't look anything like the Jurassic Park 3 Stegosaurus, I will admit. But yet again, that was literally just a T-Rex with a horn on top. But overall, I really like this figure. This is actually a pretty neat looking figure. Alright, next up in the box we have the Indominus Rex versus Gyrosphere set. So this is actually pretty cool. It came with a pretty decent looking Indominus Rex figure. This little ACU trooper, unfortunately, it's very tiny, but it's something you can lose it too. But something that's actually really cool is that it's in the style of the Kenner figures, so that's pretty cool. But as you can see, I'm gonna have to zoom in for this. But obviously, it comes with a gyrosphere, pretty neat. And then what you can do is you press this button, and this seat will come out. There we go. And you just sit the figure inside the gyrosphere and close it, and then close this too. That way, the figure's inside the gyrosphere. And then what you do is with the Indominus Rex, obviously you move the tail down and does this chomping feature. And obviously what you can do is you can press on this button. You get the Indominus Rex, right? Let me actually angle this camera. Alright, so here's the better shot. As you can see, you can get the Indominus Rex, you can get it to bite down on the gyrosphere, and boom, look at that. The front part opens up, the seat comes out, and the door opens, and literally the ACU trooper just like, it just launches right out. It's actually pretty cool. Actually, you can have it tear open this gyrosphere. And two, what's really neat is out of this hole, you can have the Indominus Rex. You can put its mouth inside the gyrosphere and have it like splash around the gyrosphere. And you can also put the ACU trooper inside it and close this up. So yeah, as you can see, you have the ACU trooper inside, and then you have the Indominus Rex just rash around the gyrosphere. It's actually a really nice set, I will admit. A little bit, there we go. This is probably a really cool set. And what's also neat too, is that if you look on the side here, instead of having permanent battle damage, you get another dinosaur, and boom, has a trap door for the battle damage, so you have a dinosaur get inside it and start tearing it apart. But it's actually really neat. I really like this set. And what's also really neat is if you position the ACU trooper through the hole, you can actually have it chomp on the ACU guy and literally get it, and you can have him rip it out, and then you can thrash it around and do whatever and do all that. And of course, if you have the ACU trooper positioned in the hole of the frame where they are. And of course, if you have the ACU trooper in the hole of the gyrosphere, you can have the Indominus Rex snatch out down on them and rip them out and just go to town, killing them, whatever. And of course, as you can tell by the top of the gyrosphere, there's a little frisbee disc thing that you put inside, just like that. And then when you have the dinosaur right there, you can go ahead and basically squeeze it. Hold on, retry. You grab these two prongs on the sides, and then you just squeeze them, and holy crap, that went far. I did not expect it to go that far. I'm gonna have to go grab that. So as you can see, it's a little tight, probably because it's so old that obviously it gets tight over time. But it actually has a lot of friction with it. It goes really far. So pretty neat. This is a really good set actually. I really like this. Alright, so moving on with the figures. Here we have something a little bit bigger. We have the chomping T-Rex. Yes, this is the small, I think there's 2 T-Rexes in this line. You got this one and then you got another one that's a little bit more expensive and a little bit more animated. Unfortunately, I was never able to find that as a kid, so I settled with this one. And it's a very interesting figure. Looking at that head, as you can see, it has seen better days. This is not a pretty looking T-Rex, to say for the least. But of course, as for the action feature of this extreme chomping T-Rex, there's a button on top and yeah, that's literally what it does. It's a static T-Rex. The legs can move, the arms can move, granted they're very tight, and that's what it does. It's a very weak function, but it's cool, it's alright. Granted, it would probably been smarter just to make one of these, but just in a larger scale, but it's not bad. So next up in this Jurassic World collection, here we have the Jurassic World T-Rex lockdown playset. Of course, this is just the gates, this isn't all of it, but here we have the gates. Then of course we have 4 fences. These are actually pretty neat because these can actually go for a small carnivore. And these actually work well with the Mattel figures too, so that's pretty neat. Of course, we have the 4 fences, we have the main gates, we have this trap door fencing, we have a net launcher with a rubber net, ignore that, and of course we also have the gyrosphere with the T-Rex. Alright, so here it is all, gotta get that away. Here it is all put together. As you can see, it's actually a pretty good size set. It's actually not too bad. Up front, you obviously have the Jurassic World gates with the flames that can be rotated. Then you have all the fences, which you can actually change, so it doesn't have to be in this circular position. You can actually interchange them to however you want. And of course, in the very back, you have this fake fence, which is obviously a trap door. So when looking at the stuff that comes with this set, obviously, first off, we have a very small gyrosphere. Unfortunately, when I was a kid, I took this to a pool, and as you can see, it has definitely seen better days. And now it's gone. So as you can see, it was in the pool. It's not too bad. It's pretty neat. After that, of course, we also have this net, which is actually seems to be inspired from the net that came with the net launcher that came with the Command Compound set, I believe it was called. So that's pretty neat. And of course, it also comes with a rubber net. And next up, we also have this Bashes and Biters T-Rex, which still works. So it's gonna be a little bit hard trying to fit all this in camera. But with the set, of course, you got the gates, which you can get the Bashes and Biters T-Rex and have it break straight through and do whatever. And in the back, you can have the gyrosphere break straight through that as well. Looking at the back too, with this trapdoor fence, you can also get the T-Rex and go ahead and just have him run up and break through the fence. And it's really neat too, because when he does that, obviously you got some electric sparks that come out from the sides. Honestly, a pretty neat set. Oh, I forgot, also you can have the T-Rex chase after the gyrosphere and play foosball with it or whatever you want. And of course you also have this net thing, which you just go ahead, you hook on the end of it, and you get your you get the T-Rex over here. I want to end the camera, hold on. There we go. I like how these figures stand. So as you can see, you get your net, hold on, it's kind of caught, there we go. You pull it back and, hold on, I didn't expect that to happen. Pull it back and, boom, look at that. That's the first time I've been able to do that. So as you can see, it can knock down the dinosaur. Alright, and that was the T-Rex lockdown playset. Pretty neat, I will admit, and it's honestly a pretty solid playset. I will admit that. It's actually pretty cool. And as for the final figure in this Jurassic World collection, we have the infamous bad boy Indominus Rex. Yes, this is the big Bertha of all the 2015 Jurassic World figures that cannot stand for whatever reason. But as you can see, a really nice figure, really cool looking figure, I will admit. As you can see, unfortunately, when it comes to this guy, it's just, he has truly seen some better days. You got a big old hole there. The bottom of the neck is completely slit open. The whole other side of the neck is just, and there's also a huge tear down here as well. This guy has seen some better days. Also, not just that, but all the rubber on this figure is just completely yellowed out. So this guy has seen some better days. He has definitely been played with as a kid. But of course, as for the action feature, you grab the arm and there you go. You see, it still works. It still glows. It goes from orange to red. The mouth still opens. The electronics still work. I don't know how this thing is still working, but it is somehow. It's a really cool figure, I will admit. Of course, if you want, you can get another dinosaur, grab the arm, boom, look at that. So as you can see, you can grab other figures of this guy, thrash them around, throw them across the room, and pretty neat. This is actually not a bad looking figure, I will admit. This is actually pretty cool.
Alright, and that was my childhood Jurassic World collection. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to film a proper outro because right after filming this video, I had a trip out at sea and I couldn't really make a proper outro, so I apologize. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. What do you guys think of these figures? Did you grow up with them? And if you did, what was your favorite of the figures? But besides that, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you liked this video, please leave a like. And if you're new to this channel, please subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. But yeah, besides that, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.